I love it. This whole thing starts with, this ain't a song for the brokenhearted. This ain't a song for the brokenhearted. I love the concept of, we have to get off of our doldrums. How many people find themselves in the doldrums sometimes? Yeah, it's time to get over that. It's like, if it shows up, fine, feel it, but then get over it. It's like, don't live there. Or as not Ernest Holmes, Tom Costa used to say, yea, though I go through the valley of death, don't pitch a tent there. Move on, move through it. So I love that. This ain't a song for the brokenhearted. Today is not a service for the brokenhearted. Today is not a service, and I want to get rid of brokenhearted. Today is not a service for those that want to just sit in their mundanity, to sit in their lack or their fear or their doubt. Today is a day for us to express our divine self. When Andrea and I were talking up there, you can express from your creative, amazing self, or you can express from your depressed state. You can express from your belief system that doesn't support you. You can express you're always expressing. So why not express from your divine self? I love these lyrics. I ain't gonna be just a face in the crowd. You're gonna hear my voice when I shout it out loud. Who resonates with that? It's time for all of us to stop being just a face in the crowd, but to step up and show the world. Here's the thing. We have this amazing philosophy, this amazing teaching that helps people remember who they are. And if you can help one person in your life remember that they are God, and that one person can make one person in their life help them, assist them to know that they are God, imagine the ripple effect of what we could all do in this world. We don't have to get up and speak in front of billions of people. You have to affect one person. Just one person. Ernest Holmes said it. If I can get one person to understand who they are, I will have done my job. So let's stop being just a face in the crowd, and let's get up and say, here's who I am. I am God. I am all that this universe is. And not be afraid to do that. And I love that. It's my life now or never. I ain't going to live forever. And I hate to tell you, you are going to live forever in a spiritual sense, but this version of you is only going to live, 120, 140? Why not? There are people living to 140 now, folks. So, one person did it, but more people will. Why not? But we still have that time that we're going to be here in these bodies. And the bodies are going to change and everything's going to shift, but we're still here. So while we're here, right, Tiff? While we're here, it's time to really live life to the fullest. So, Missouri. So, Nemo Patel was the first person that spoke at our conference. First, he did a concert with Daniel Nahmod, and then he had a workshop the next day. And there's something about a young man, I guess he's in his early 40s, who gave everything away, sold everything, was on his way to he was a CEO at Warner Brothers, and moved to India to live in the ghetto of India, got some kids, started teaching them to dance and sing, created a little show, needed to raise, $300,000 or something, to take these kids on a tour of the world. Kids that have never left this little diameter of ghetto. And he did it. He raised the money, it happened, and he took them all over the world. And there are videos of the kids and the singing and all, and I was just sitting there sobbing. Now I go to Guatemala every year, and what do? I teach kids to sing and dance, and we have an amazing time. So I understood it. I had a feeling for what he was teaching me. But he said some things that I wanted to bring to you today. And Gandhi said the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. And this really touched me because, and it really informed what I spoke of on Wednesday night. To look at someone who is living their life in the service of others, and in so doing has served their soul so powerfully that this man walks into a room and it's just the most loving energy. You just want to hug him. You just want to be in his presence. You want to live in his presence. I mean, it feels like that. And his singing, his rap singing is just awesome. But as I left Missouri, one of the things I did the 5 questions on Wednesday night, but on Friday, when they were doing this teze, in the middle of the teze, she quoted me and then did my 5 questions. And I rarely get to sit and do the 5 questions where someone else is, I never do, where someone else is facilitating. And when she got to, what is mine to do right now, I just got it. I want to serve more. I want to be of service. And I shared that with Kevin on the phone after this came to me, and he was like, you want to be of more service? You know how tired you know how busy you are? You know how much you do? I said, yeah. It's the consciousness that needs to shift, not the doing. The doing follows the consciousness. I said, sometimes I'm doing because I want to succeed. I want to achieve. And Nemo, he was saying to me, he said, what you will really, really arrive when you're doing something and you have no care about the financial remuneration. And I said, yeah. I said, I am not selling all of my things and living in a ghetto. I said, that doesn't work for me. I said, and you need me to make the money I make so I can give it to you. And he went, good point. I said, so I believe my calling is to make so much money and to give it where it's needed. Yeah. Right? So, but I can't be of service if I'm trying to make money. I need to be of service and trust and know money always follows the consciousness. So that was one of the big things I walked away with. And then he said this Ernest Holmes quote that I don't think I'd ever heard. And it's this. Ernest Holmes said, we need more backbone, less wishbone. How about that? We can wish and hope and do all that Burt Bacharach singing, wishing and hoping and something and praying and all that stuff. It's a cute little song. But it's not about wishing. It's not about hoping. It is about being, really being, standing strong, the backbone of this teaching. I know who I am. Don't be anyone else. Don't, even on special occasion, don't go and be less than yourself because it's more comfortable for everyone around you. Don't do things that you don't want to do because they'll like you if you do. And I love that. Let them not like you, but stand in your truth. Stand in the backbone of what Ernest Holmes came here to teach. And here's the funny part. Ernest Holmes came here to teach this. He started in 1926 with that book, but he kept teaching us through his entire life. And right before he died, he got it. When he said, you are not one of God, you are not one with God, you are not a part of God, you are God. Now get to work. I rarely hear anyone quote that man in his later years, in his final stages of wisdom and knowing. So do we need more backbone and less wishbone? Yeah. I don't want to take your dreams away. I don't want to take your wishes and your hopes away, but I do want to activate them. I want them to move out of your consciousness of wishing and move into your consciousness of knowing. This is who I am. This is what is possible, and this is where I'm going. So that was all just Monday night and Tuesday morning, and we had a whole week. I was already washed. I was already walking everywhere crying. And we found this cute little, what have we decided it is? A gopher. It's a gopher. I thought, of course, it was a horse. It was this thing, this animal that was living in a tree, and between our house and the conference, it was always there. But I always see, Tiffany kept saying, you're delusional. I never see the baby. It had babies, and I always see the babies. She didn't. So this animal, though, spoke to me, and I would walk by it, and it would look at me, and take a couple steps toward me, but I always had a feeling it was ready to attack. So I kind of stayed away from it. So one night we're coming back from the conference and I threw an apple. I had an apple that I half eaten. I thought, I'm going to give it to the gopher. And I threw it into his little tree where the entrance is. And Tiffany turned to me and went, great, now you have blocked its entrance. And the next morning when we came back, the gopher had taken the apple and thrown it away. Didn't eat it, just threw it away. I was like, wow. And so I'm walking up the trail, and here's the gopher, and there's the apple. I was like, oh my. I turn this way, and there's the gopher, and it literally stood on its back legs, and it was 10 feet tall. No, but it was tall. It was like, it stood up, it was about this tall. And I was like, this gopher is really pissed off at me because I thought it needed something from me. It didn't need anything from me. It just needed my love. So anyway, we had this wonderful experience with this gopher all week long. And we did see it. It poked its head out to say goodbye to us as we left. So we did see it. So the next day, we had this young man, Jeffon Seeley, who is his mother, I think, is white and his father is black. But he grew up with such prejudice against him because he was unlike anybody else. And so he teaches... He travels the world. He's a world-class speaker, and he talks about prejudice. And he talks about how we need to learn how to incorporate inclusivity into our lives. But he said the thing that really, really moved me. He said, change is great. You know Gandhi's quote, be the change you want to see in the world? He said, but change can unchange. You can change and go back again. How many of you have done that? How many of you have changed? I've changed. And then you find yourself right back where you were before. Or you believe what you believe, and then suddenly you believe something else again. I believe I am God, and then I believe I am less than. It's easy to change and unchange. But then he said, transformation can't go backwards. If you have an acorn, and you plant that acorn, and the oak tree grows up to this strong oak tree, that oak tree never goes back into the acorn. The acorn was transformed and turns into what it is meant to be. And he said, and our issue is that we all think it's all about changing, and it's not. It's about transforming so that you never go back again. And I think both of us were just a pool of tears. We were like, yeah, I want to transform. And I can honestly say that this week has transformed me in many ways, and I know you feel the same way. The transformation, you feel it. You know when you are standing here saying, I am God, and you know it, you're not going back to something else. You know, and one of the ministers was speaking to me and said, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you stand on your stage and say, I am God, and still have people sitting in the seats. And I said, well, the way I look at it is, I have to tell the truth. And whoever needs to be in the seats will be in the seats. If it's 5 people, it's 5 people. If it's 500 people, it's 500 people. It doesn't matter. But I'm not going to not know the truth. That transformation has happened. So anyone who still wants to talk me off the I am God thing, that day is over. That is gone. It is time for at least someone to stand up and say, this, and it's not just me, there are a lot of people doing it, to really get it. Now, there needs to be clarity around this, so that it doesn't sound like I'm saying, I am God and Marilyn Murphy is something else, because you are something else, but you're also God, right? So that was Jeffon Seeley, change versus transformation. And it was interesting too, because we talked about the butterfly and the struggle it goes through in order to become a butterfly, but it doesn't. There's no struggle there. It's a transformation. The butterfly transforms from a caterpillar to a butterfly in a natural process that just happens. So this whole concept, people want to teach us that it's like a butterfly and you're going to have to struggle to become a butterfly. No, allow the process of who you are to manifest itself to your highest and best. So there are a lot of things that get in the way of our authentic expression. One of the things that Jeffon talked about was resolving unconscious behaviors. you have a lot of, Rachel Bork, hello. You have a lot of unconscious behaviors going on inside of you that you're not even aware of. One of the great things about mental muscle is that we get to resolve and go in there and find these unconscious behaviors. You can come in. So I want you to just take a moment today and ask yourself, like, what do I do unconsciously that is a result of what I'm believing? Because there are many things, behaviors. Do you ever notice yourself suddenly you're ornery with someone or you treat someone a certain way? Tiffany said to me during the week, we were talking about unconscious behaviors, and she said, you know, you really do gravitate to pretty people. And she brought up Dr. Liza. And she said, you know, you and Dr. Liza, you know, the two of you are like these pretty people and you kind of gravitate to one another. But she made me think about something. I was like, I do. I like pretty. I like beautiful. I tend to gravitate to pretty people, beautiful people, models, actors, you know, that sort of thing. And that night, like Swan, that sort of thing. But that night, I sat with myself and got very upset because I realized that that was one of those unconscious behaviors, because I was not aware of it till she told me. And I was like, but everyone's beautiful. I do believe that. I believe everyone is beautiful. I see eyes of people that blow me away. I see beauty everywhere I go. And what I had to really come to was, she was bringing up who I have been, not who I am. And I can see that person that always wanted to be in the jet set, the successful people. I wanted to be around the pretty people, the beautiful people, the people who had money. I remember that person. That person's still inside of me. Every person you've ever been is still inside of you, but it's not who I choose to be. And it's not where I'm putting my attention, where I'm putting my focus. So the next day I explained that to her and she said, good, are you finally going to go see some ugly people? I was like, there's no such thing as ugly and beautiful. It's all pejoratives. So this resolving unconscious behaviors. When she said that to me, I literally was like, what? I was so insulted. I said, get ye gone. But then I started thinking about it. I was like, no, I can see where someone could have thought that about me. So then Jeffon also talked about, he was talking and what wasn't working? His clicker wasn't working. And then he realized he hadn't put the USB into the computer in order for it to talk to the clicker. And as I sat there, I was thinking to myself, how often do we forget to put the consciousness of the USB into the consciousness of the computer and then expect this to work? And then spend all of our time cursing this damn thing because it doesn't work, when in fact, it was user fault. We very often walk around without having put our USB of I am God into this consciousness of truth. And we live our lives with all of the problems, all of the frailties, all of the disconnects, and all we needed to do was plug in. Really plug in and remember who we are, and everything would have changed. So, this is also a great quote that was said. It's one thing to know better, it's another thing to do better. I think we've spent a lot of time knowing better here, and it's time to start doing better, really doing better. You know, I've spent time this week going over the financials of this center, and the financials of this center are not as healthy as they have been in the past. And I'm watching that. I am watching a congregation. Just today I opened a check of someone that sends a check every month, and the check was half of what it was last month. Now I can tell you, I know we're not giving half up here on Sundays. Well, I'm not doing half work. And I thought to myself, people are starting to really believe they don't have enough. People are really starting to believe that they are lacking. They're really starting to fall into this belief that there is not enough in the world to sustain them, to support them. But I'm here to tell you this, and this is not just about we need to get our finances in shape at the center, which we do, but this is about you need to get your finances shape in your life, personally. Because if you hold true to a belief that there is not enough and there's not enough money and I'm not going to have enough when I get older, then you are setting yourself up for that. That's the consciousness that we are falling into, and it's going to play itself out. But that's not my consciousness. I know that this center is wealthy. This center is fluid. This center is solvent. I know that. And it is right now. And I know it's going to keep going and keep growing and keep expanding. But we must get into that mindset, because this is the thing. We know everything about prosperity. We know it all. But are we living it? So when I talked on Wednesday night, I gave a talk called, I don't even remember what the talk was. But I used the song, If the Race is Over. And what I came to by Wednesday night was, I'm tired. I'm tired of racing. I'm tired of winning. I'm tired of trying to win. And the lyric is, if the race is over, what then? If the race is over, if you're done, how many people here are done trying to win the race and make their lives successful, make their lives more solvent, more financially, right? I don't want to race anymore. I used to love competing when I was a young actor. I used to love showing up at auditions. It was my favorite part. I almost didn't want to do the show. I just wanted you to cast me. Then I'd like to go to the next audition because I loved that. But I'm at a point in my life now where I don't want to race anymore. I don't want to push boulders up hills anymore. I don't want to be the one that proves something anymore. Because the race is over for me. A lot of people have been asking me when I'm going to retire. And because they're like, well, you're going to be 70. I was like, I just turned 69. Give me a year. But they're like, you're going to be 70. Most ministers at my age have retired. They're done. They've moved on to their other things. But I kind of feel like I'm just getting this stuff. I really do. I feel like I'm just finally getting it. And to say the race is over for me means I get to be a different person now. I don't have to play the game anymore. I just have to be my authentic self, expressing the truth, and see where that takes me. So, this was the title of my talk today, Return to Empty, because I went to Silent Unity. Silent Unity has a little prayer room. First of all, it's a gorgeous place in Missouri. And Silent Unity has a little tiny prayer room at the top of this tower. And it has 5 seats in it. I think I have the picture. Wait. There it is. And on the wall right in front of you, it says, be still and know, ... For 176, is that what it is? For 176 years now, someone has been in that room 24/7, praying for the world. During COVID, there weren't 5, and they went more virtual, but they made sure that someone was praying at every moment. When we got to, and no one gets to do that except the ministers and I don't think they have practitioners at Unity. But when we're there, they give us that right. I think you did it last year, Eric, didn't you? You didn't? Well, Tiffany and Rick Tamlin, I signed them up for a 7 a.m. prayer vigil. And I told them on Wednesday night as we were walking back, I said, we have to be up early tomorrow. They're going to pick us up at 6:45. And the two of them were like, what? Why would you do that? We're getting up at 6:45 to go sit in a room for a half hour? I said, we are. And beautifully so, they did it. And I would say, Tiffany, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but was that not one of the most transforming moments of your life? I sat in the middle and I was looking at this, be still and know. But you know what the end of that sentence is? Be still and know that, keep going, say it out loud. I am God. They didn't put it up there, but it's be still and know that I am God. And we got there at 6:57 and we're sitting there and I closed my eyes and I don't know what happened. But I did not go to sleep. I was wide awake, fully present. I opened my eyes a couple times to see the sun rising out the window. I saw a thing in front of me. I would turn around and look at Tiffany or or Rick, and my heart, something happened. And I just was like, I heard inside of me saying, be still and know that I am God. And I hear this thing inside of me saying, could you just do that now? Could you just really do that now? Could you really know that now? Like, be still and know that you are God. Can that just be what you know from now on? And I was like, and I have all of these faults. Have you ever noticed any of them? Yeah, I have all these faults and these things that I do that I'd like to not do anymore. And all of a sudden they kind of fell away. I was like, I'm not doing that again. I don't need to do this anymore. I'm done comparing myself. I'm done judging people. Because I still judge occasionally. Anybody? You judge people? You know, that you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that. So in my journal, on Friday, when we were journaling, the question 4 came up in the 5 questions. What's mine to do right now? And I wrote, today I am here to come home to who I've always been and stay a while. Because I think I come home a lot to who I've always been. And then I get busy doing this over here. And then I do that over there. Then I run over there. Then I run over there. I've decided I need to stay home. I need to get home, be home, and stay home. Jeff Seeley said, no one is coming here to serve you, to save you, other than the transformed you. I think we think there are these books and these classes and these workshops and these ministers and these gurus and these leaders that are going to save you. They're going to have the right answer for you. They're going to make you feel better about yourself. They're going to help you. And I am here to do all of that. But at the end of the day, no one's going to save you but your transformed self. Not your changed self, your transformed self. And that's what I would like to leave you with today. I would like to leave you with the idea that your transformation is a breath away. Your transformation is your decision to be who you really are, to express yourself as you really are. It's my life. And I think we are at the point of it's now or never. Either today or when. And for me, it's now. I am done with the race. I am done competing. I'm done pushing boulders up hills. I'm done trying to make people understand something. From now on, I'm just going to be something. You want to come along for the ride? Join me. Namaste.